Okay, so what is a vision board? So vision board is a visual representation of your goals. So as you can see from the top two pictures there, those are poster sized visuals. So basically they contain like any images or text that really represent something you want to accomplish. But remember, don't confuse this with a mood board. They're very, very similar, but they're actually not the same at all. At the bottom two photos there, you'll notice those are mood boards. So that's basically, for example, if you're planning a party or you're trying to decorate a room, that's what you would use for a mood board. And in terms of a vision board, it really relates to your life direction, right? So as you can see from the first two, it really creates like there's some photos in there, but I'm going to show you some more examples as we go along. Let's see here. Why create a vision board? When you put your goals down on some sort of visual format, it really helps you achieve them. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so I shared some personal photos with you guys and some, because I'm a big believer in vision boards and manifestation. I've used this in my life, and honestly, I can tell each and every one of you that everything that I've created in my life, I've manifested. And I've been such a powerful manifester since I was a young child. I'll give you some background into why I am a powerful manifester. Since I was 7 years old, I was left home alone a lot. And so at such a young age, being home alone, I found a lot of strength through prayer. So I prayed a lot to God. And so ever since at a young age, I've always, prayed, and I've always manifested and visualized what I wanted. So the picture on the left, as you can see, is my 2018 vision board. As you can see, at that time, my affirmation at the bottom says, a positive affirmation that will help me achieve this vision faster. So this is what you need to really write down and be clear on what you want. So I wrote down here, I am ready for my soulmate to show up in my life. My soulmate and I will meet on or before September 1st, 2018. So I just posted a photo. I just kind of Googled a photo of a couple, and then somehow it's that literally in 2021, this is a photo of me and my boyfriend in Cabo. Just kissing in, where were we? Yeah, in Cabo in Sunset Mona Lisa. And it was crazy because when I was doing this vision board presentation for you guys, I was just like looking up photos, and I was like, looking at my old vision board, and I was like, holy cow, this is like so mind-blowing. The things, when you create a vision board, the things that come true, it's going to blow your mind. So this is just so, there's actually something I wanted to show you guys too, but I didn't have time to show you. But I also painted a photo of a picture of, two people kissing in a sunset as well. But I didn't have time to include that. But anyways, so that's what I really wanted to tell you is that, for example, Oprah is a big believer in also manifestation. And you get to a point in your life when you become such a powerful manifester that you don't really, I don't want to say you don't need vision boards, but a vision board is a good first step or stepping stone to help you really visualize what it is that you want to achieve in your life. So for example, Psychology Today even says that like mental practices like visualization and meditation can really increase your motivation, your confidence, and your motor performance in getting your momentum to get up and get excited about your goals and what you're going to achieve every single day. And researchers have also found that like athletes who use visualization were almost as effective as physical practice. So let's say, for example, I know that there's a lot of NBA players and all that that basically visualize themselves being able to get the shot in. And, when you visualize yourself either getting the shot in or acing that presentation with your client, whatever it is, that's going to be the outcome because you're setting that intention beforehand to achieve the outcome you desire. So doing a vision board will always allow you to see what your goals are and what they would look like once you achieve them. So that's really the exciting part. Know your why. This is very important. Like when you know your why, this why statement is really the purpose that describes why you do the work you do and why you live the lifestyle you do. It's really your North Star, your directional compass in life, right? So for me, my biggest why in the first 5 years of my career was to give my mom and dad a happy retirement. So, we grew up, some of you know my story, we grew up in poverty. So for me, be able to give back to my parents, retire them. I didn't want my dad working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day anymore. He was 75 when he was still working like so hard, so that was my biggest driving why. And when you have such a strong why, it's going to get you out of bed in the morning. It's going to get you working on days when you don't want to work, right? When you have that strong enough why, it's going to push you past those days when you're feeling down, you're feeling out, right? So that's why knowing your why is so crucial. Really, when you have a why, it's really your calling. It's going to be your conviction, and it is your core source of motivation, and it's going to be your life's direction. So as you can see on the left, the image says, when you know your why, you can endure anyhow, right? And I think a lot of us, when we are figuring out our why, we always get stuck with the tyranny of how. Don't let the how be your roadblock. Because, for example, when you know your why, the how and the universe will, it will, how do I say this? It'll help you, it'll figure itself out. Like the how will happen. What I mean by that is that you will just have to be more self-aware and see opportunities when they come to you. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. So for example, for the longest time, like for the last 5 years, I've been wanting to do more video content and everything like that. And I've just been stuck in this cycle of perfectionism. Right. So remember, perfectionism, like Kaylin and Sarah have used multiple times, perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. So I've just really procrastinated on putting out video content because I've always been so self-critical of my own content. Like, oh, it's not good enough. I don't have the right editor. I don't have, the right this or right that. But, I've had people show up in my life where obviously I've probably attracted subconsciously, but they reached out to me and be like, hey, you know what? They just start they're like, hey, I'd love to work with you. Let me just start editing some of your videos. Let me edit one video free of charge and let's see what we can do. So, this is an example of opportunities coming up to your life. So, a lot of times I could have been like, oh, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this. But, you just have to be aware. Every day we have opportunities that show up, whether that be you're watching something on TV or you're going on social media and you see something that catches your eye, follow your gut, follow your intuition. These are usually signs that it's kind of leading you into the right direction, but you just have to be aware of them. That's the key. Questions to ask yourself, what gets you excited that you can't stop thinking about, right? To discover your why. Is there a problem or challenge that emotionally moves you to take action? Right. So for example, let's go back to the first question. What gets you excited that you can't stop thinking about? Is there, your family, your loved one, these are big driving forces of why. Is there a problem or challenge that emotionally moves you to take action? For example, some of us could be in large debt right now, but a lot of the times we don't take action until shit really hits the fan, or when things go really wrong. And we really have to, when we change our shoulds to must, we must make this happen. That's really going to move us and push us in the right direction and shift that needle. What are you willing to struggle for? For me, I was willing to struggle for my parents. They did so much for me. A lot of you have kids out there. I know some of you would die for your children, right? To give them the opportunities and options that we potentially never had growing up, right? And that's what I'm doing now. I don't have kids yet, but that's what I'm striving for, right? And I'm trying to create a legacy now where my family doesn't have to grow up in the poverty that I had to grow up in, right? So what did your 80-year-old self love doing? You can incorporate that now into your business, right? So I realized at a young age, in high school, I used to take improv and acting classes. And I realized, I can incorporate that now into my business, being on camera, being able to, showcase like homes, right? So, if you look back in your life, there are going to be moments in your life that has sparked joy. How can you incorporate that into your business now, right? What is it that you love doing? Some of us love researching like data and analytics about the market. Can you take that information and break it down to sizable chunks for the consumer now? Right. So these are questions to think about. What makes you forget to eat? There are times when I'm just in moments of focus where I just forget my hunger, right? What are those moments for you? Think about that. How are you going to save the world? And I know this is a huge vague statement. A lot of you are going to go, oh, it's just me. I can't change the world. But remember, we can be the change in the world, right? If we start with ourselves. So right now, one of my biggest whys is to make a difference in other people's lives, to contribute, to serve in a bigger way. And by creating video content, like realizing my big why now, creating big video content, I can now be able to impact and inspire more people's lives by doing that. So what are you going to do to create an impact or shift that needle for someone else in the world? If you knew where you were going, if you knew you were going to die 1 year from today, what would you do and how would you want to be remembered? This is such a powerful question to ask yourself. I know a lot of you might think this sounds very morbid, but this is reality. A lot of people don't change until they come to a near-death experience. And that's the unfortunate part, because a lot of times everybody is living their life every single day, doing the same things in this cycle of repetition and routine, which is great. If you have like certain goals and you're being consistent, right? But if you are kind of wandering aimlessly, with no direction, no why, no deeper reason that is burning in the pit of your stomach, that is getting you to wake up every single day and doing something that's going to not only impact your life, but other people's lives, think about it. Like if you're going to die 1 year, you have 1 year, you're diagnosed with cancer, you're going to die in 1 year. What are you going to do differently? And, an exercise that I've done before is I wrote my own, oh my gosh, what is this word, guys? When you pass away and someone makes a speech about your death?
Obituary.
Obituary. Thank you. Yes, obituary. I wrote my own obituary before. I could probably do another call on that. I'm not going to go too much about that, but I want you guys to write your own obituaries. Like, visualize yourself like as if you have passed away. I know this is kind of morbid, but like I want you guys to just realize this is like, hey, we are so lucky to be above ground. There's so many people below ground or in the hospital right now that would die to be in your position right now, to have the problems that you're having, right? So remember, what are you going to do differently? And that's what I really want you guys to think about. On the left-hand side is a vision board that I created. So I'm going to share with you guys some apps that I use. This is a vision board app. It's actually just called My Vision Board. I'll share it later as well. But it breaks it down into 9 categories. It goes into wealth and prosperity. This is actually an outdated one, but because as you can see, I wanted to be engaged by 2020. I put down my villa in Thailand. That's going to be where I was thinking about getting married. And then that's my future family. And then the rest I haven't filled out yet. I was just in the middle of that. Obviously, this is outdated. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't done a vision board in a while. It's just because for me, I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of visualization. And like I said before, like once you get to a point where you're a powerful manifester, you don't necessarily need to kind of create a vision board. But of course, I am so glad I'm presenting this to you guys today, because you guys have already inspired me to do a new vision board. So that's going to the Veil homework app that I'm going to share with you guys afterwards. I want everyone to do a vision board, and I would love for you to share it with me. And maybe we can do a follow-up call in the new year with some of your vision boards. How to create a vision board. Take a moment and self-reflect and figure out what's most important to you. So for me, this is literally a screenshot of the back of my phone. This is a wallpaper on the back of my phone. So one of my biggest priorities, and I'm getting real personal with you all. just gonna be super candid and vulnerable. Yeah, I'm wanting to start a family. Like that's my biggest why right now. I've been doing real estate for 12 years. I've been so focused on my career and, university, then career, and now like everything else. It's always been, something external of me. I'm now really wanting to have a baby, start a family. And that's my personal goal at the moment. And one of my highest priority goals right now, personally. Think about some areas of your life you really want to change and focus on how you want it to look like in the future. A lot of times right now we might feel stuck in a certain situation. And so 1 second here. Yeah, you feel right now you might feel stuck in a certain situation where there's nothing you can do. Oops, let me go back here. Right. But like, let's say, for example, I'm going to give you an example. About 12 years ago, when I was still in university, I felt completely stuck because I was in university. I just broke up with my boyfriend. I was completely depressed. Me and my family were renting a 600 square feet apartment basement that was dark and dungy. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But you know what? Like when you catch yourself in that dark rabbit hole, luckily I was able to catch myself and I started building, okay, Denise, what can I refocus on and shift instead of continuously to think negative thoughts about being in this dark, depressing situation? What can I start recreating my future to look like? And so at that point, I made that decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to graduate university. I'm going to work for a Fortune 500 company. And I'm going to create a new career for myself instead of feeling like sad for myself and continuing to wallow in this like pity of misery and being this victim mentality, right? So lo and behold, I graduated university and I worked for not one Fortune 500 company, I worked for two. So these are examples of like what I've manifested in my life, and that me being an average student, getting into a Fortune 500 company, I would never have thought that would have happened, but it did, right? So think about what area of your life you want to change now and focus on what you want it to look like in the future. Remember, what it is now doesn't mean it's going to create your future. Next, decide if your vision board should represent either short-term or long-term goals, right? It could have both, right? You could have a 6-month goal, you could have a 1-year goal, you could have a 3-year goal. Whatever it is that you want, just put it up on your board. And I promise you, it's going to happen. It's just not it. Now you can have everything you want in your life, but it cannot all happen at one time. Remember, everything is all about timing, right? And for me, I'm going to share something personal with you all. So obviously, that my next goal is to start a family, right? And so I found out about a couple months ago that I was diagnosed with bilateral hydrocephalic, so which means that both my tubes have fluid in them, and so I can't get pregnant, right? So, when I found this out, I was completely devastated. Like, if anybody knows me, they know that I love kids. Like I absolutely love kids. Like ever since I was a young age, like babies are so cute to me. They're like, I love them. So when I found this out, I was like devastated because I was crying. I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, but something that my mentor always told me, which is Tony Robbins, life is happening for you, not to you, right? So every struggle that you're going through right now is because that there is a reason for it. There's a learning opportunity. So, I regrouped myself, and then I thought, okay, you know what? God's delays are not God's denials. It just means that I may not be ready for my child right now, and because that's why I feel like I have this bigger calling where I still want to do so much still before my child comes into this world. And so, so now I've reframed it, and I've just like, focused on just like doing what I need to do to get me to a place where I am going to be ready to have a baby. But in the meantime, continue working on my other goals in the meantime, right? So, this is what I mean by reshifting your focus. If something's negative that's happening to you, how can you change your negative to a positive, right? That is going to help you push the needle and re-inspire you in life. And last, using yearly benchmarks is the most digestible and easiest way to track your progress, right? So that's why I really want to stress right now, we're coming to the end of 2022. 2023 is going to be pivotal because it's a new year. It's an opportunity to reset, to set a new standard for yourself, to create a new life, right? Remember, we are all in control and we can decide and shape the destiny we want to have in our life. So it's time to get creative. How can you create a vision board? So you can go through magazines. One of my very first vision boards was going through a magazine, cutting out things that really resonated with me, that I really wanted to create and shape for my future, right? So hunt through magazines for your visual representations of your goals. Also online images. Now I've moved past the magazines. I've really, now how I do my vision boards is all, as you can see, is online, right? So for example, like I use Pinterest, like there's Instagram, Google to find visual representations of your goal. And what I do now, as you can see from the third image, that is an actual screenshot of my phone wallpaper. So when my phone is shut off, right? This is my visual representation. So as you can see, the first one is supposed to be a girl on stage. So if anyone, you know, that about me this year, I got the opportunity to interview Glenn Sanford on stage at EXP Con in Las Vegas in front of 7,000 people. So this is what I mean. When you put this on visually, you're gonna, the world, the light universe transpires to make your goals come true. See, talking about this is just making my heart pound, because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But, you know, like speaking and being on stage has been one of my goals as well, in addition to everything else. And on the right is actually a picture of me, my boyfriend Herb, and my friend's little girlfriend, my friend's baby, Michaela, who's also my goddaughter. But I put that picture up there because like, that's what I'm manifesting next, is a child that's coming into my life, right? So using personal images is also very important for your goals, right? So for some of you, if you have any like body goals, right? Like if you want to lose weight, you know, like find somebody with a body that you want and paste your photo, cut your photo and put it on that body, right? Like that's what you're striving for. And you can visualize it. You're going to take the steps and execute on making it happen. And the third picture I put there at the very bottom, out of those three, is going to be a house in Las Vegas. You know, I'm planning to purchase another property in Vegas, and that's going to be my next goal. So yeah, and you know, I can say without a shadow of a doubt to each and every one of you that I know this is like everything I have here on these pictures are going to happen. It's just a matter of when, right? And so I really feel confident that if any of you create this for yourself, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So your vision board is ever changing, right? As you can see at the very bottom, my affirmation is, I choose to be the one who is a happy, intimate, loving, married relationship with Herbert Lee and have a baby girl on or before March 1st, 2022. So sometimes you put a goal out there and it may not hit that timeline, right? And it's okay, but you just continue to change it, right? It's like, and on the right, it says like, think of your vision board as a living thing. You can take things off, add things, start from scratch. This is your own creative masterpiece. Be open to variations of what you want to achieve, right? So as you can see from the left there, you know, I also want to go back to this because, you know, when you set a goal for yourself, you also need to set a timeline, right? Like on or before a certain date. So you're telling the universe that this is going to happen on or before this specific date, right? So that's a way to really set out your goals. And then last but not least, yeah, that was it. That was my whole presentation. I have about, you know, a couple minutes left. If anybody wants to, let's see, have any questions for me, and hopefully you found that useful and helpful.
Hey, Denise, great presentation. And thanks for really putting yourself out there and letting us into your world. Love you lots.
You're welcome. Any questions? Yeah, hi.
Hi, Lorraine Leahy here from White Rock, British Columbia. Thank you for that. I've actually done a vision board in the past, and it was at a time in my life where I needed a whole lot of things to get done, but I had no idea really how any of it was going to happen. And everything got done except one thing. And the one thing was a trip to Paris. And 2 years later, I mentioned to somebody that was the only thing that didn't get done. And she said, well, then let's go. And we did.
Amazing, Lorraine. Thank you for sharing. See, and I hear about stories like that all the time where people create these vision boards, and a lot of the times you just think it's not going to come true, but just put it out there, because one of my favorite quotes is like, reach for the moon, because if you miss, you're still among the stars. Set big goals for yourself, set audacious goals, set big dreams, think bigger. Don't be afraid to do it, because like the more you do that, the more you're going to like just blow your own mind a lot of the time. So
Hi, Denise.
hi.
Hi, thank you for sharing such a personal story. I have something to add on here. I have a chromosomal dislocation, and I lost my first child, and I wasn't sure if I'll ever become a mother. I have a beautiful 9-year-old now, and I plan to have more kids now, finally. Took me a lot of time to get out of all the trauma, but yeah. So yeah, and that was not under my control, but yeah, real estate is under my control now, and my future, my career, I can put actions and I can put work in, and yeah, thank you so much. It's beautiful.
No, thank you. No, thank you for sharing. And, I think, for me, I'm always willing to be open and vulnerable to share, because I think that if I can use my story and help inspire others and share in a way that can leave some impact in your life, because this is like stuff that I'm actually going through right now, right? And so one day when I post a picture with me and my baby on Instagram, all of you are gonna like on this call know that where I was and where I'm going to be. And so, yeah, so hopefully that just inspires all of you guys to live your life to the fullest, create those vision boards. And I think, that's your homework. That's your homework, everybody. Please create a vision board, share it with me, tag me if you want to post it. I'd love to do that. Yes, Gita, you have a question.
Hi, Denise. Yeah, quick question. I've always done vision boards, but I tend to just do them and then kind of forget about them. Like they become part of the wall and I forget to keep looking at them. Do you like schedule time to look at them, or? Yeah.
Great question. And that's why I showed you guys my screen on my phone, because if my wallpaper on my phone is my vision board, every single day I'm looking at it subconsciously or consciously, right? So I suggest doing a vision board on your phone. Just, just do a little collage of some photos that are really important. And then, there's so many different apps now where you can just like do a collage, put some wording that whatever it is, I will be 120 or 130 pounds by March 2023 or something like that. Whatever it is your goal is, put it on and then just look at it every single day. And that's what I would recommend. I think I showed you guys my background with the baby, the man kissing the, my background photos. So that's what I would highly, highly recommend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions at all? No? Well, I guess that concludes it. We are, so I'm, myself, Kaylin, and Sarah are going to be hosting this every Mondays. So if you would like to continue joining us every Monday at 11:30, put it in your calendar. We're going to just continue really delivering as much value as possible on each of these calls. So we'd love to see each and every single one of you join us. So yeah, if there's anything else, just message me privately. You have my contact information, and I'd love to connect with all of you. So thank you for taking the time today and sharing with me, and hopefully you guys got some value out of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Denise.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.